Welcome back to Edu Steps, powered by Laddering Your Success, where we help you navigate life, learning, and leveling up. Today's episode tackles the most chaotic, caffeinated, emotionally messy week of the semester, finals week. Research shows that 77% of students experience significant academic stress, especially during exam-heavy periods. Students also report sleep loss, increased anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. But top students don't just survive finals, they strategize through them. So that's why we're naming today's episode Surviving Finals Week. So let's jump right in from the BKD standpoint. Before I do, we have our wonderful crew with us here today. We'll start with the founder of Laddering Your Success, Festus Amoye. Festus, how you doing today, brother?
Excellent. It's a nice sunny day. My boys are back to health. Life is good.
Wonderful, love it. And of course, we got the one and only finger roll expert himself, Dr. Jamarc Crawford. How you doing today, brother?
Hey, I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome, man. And of course, last but not the least, we must save the best for last, like Vanessa Williams said, the one, the only, DCH. Tullahoma's Daniel Hill. How you doing today, brother?
First of all, you're welcome. No, I'm good. I'm doing good, man. How y'all boys doing today?
Doing well, man. Glad to have the whole squad with us today, man. So, for those of you who don't know, whenever we go into our subjects, our topics here at Laddering Success, we use our Be, Know, Do methodology. B, what are your values, your principles, your characteristics? What animates you, get you going? Know, what are resources? Where are your resources? How do you get access to those resources to help you as you go along this journey, this path? And lastly, doing. How do you take who you are and what you know and execute a plan, but not just execute it with excellence? So with that being said, let's jump into the B, the mindset of a finals week champion. Research shows that your mindset, not just your habits, is one of the biggest predictors of academic resilience. Stress is normal, but your response to it determines your outcomes. So some things that you need to be, right? Be aware. You're not weak for feeling stressed. You're human. Psychological research shows that acknowledging stress reduces its emotional load. Be compassionate. Studies show harsh self-talk increases anxiety and worsens academic stress. Top students practice self-compassion during these finals. That's another little hidden B there. Show self-compassion. Be self-compassionate to yourself. Be intentional. High-achieving students schedule with purpose. Sleep, study, rest, and repeat. One of the big things to note here, sleep deprivation destroys memory and reasoning. We're going to talk about that a little bit here. So let's jump into some questions for the squad, for the group. First question.
I was going to say, that's my problem. I can't reason.
How much sleep are you getting, Festus? How much sleep are you getting these days, Festus?
Oh, man. More than before, but sometimes it's still not enough. Not enough. Not enough.
I'm happy to say I checked my watch. You guys would be very proud of me. I got to show you this before we go into that first question because I made it a concerted effort. My watch told me I got 10 hours and 20 minutes of sleep last night. 10 hours and 20 minutes, man. And I felt weird waking up. I didn't feel right, but I was like, and then after a while, I was like, okay, I see it now. So definitely happy about that. With that being said, first question for the squad. What type of mindset held you back during most finals week when you were younger?
That's a powerful question. And the only reason why I have an answer is we were cleaning out one of the rooms and I found my high school transcript and looking at my high school. Yeah. So I'm like, that brings back memories. And Keisha, she brought up her old fourth grade report card at one point. And to me, I think about all that I was going through that most people probably wouldn't have experienced. And I'm thinking there's quite a few kids, especially now, in that same situation. Kids in foster care, kids in one-parent households, some now are two-parent households, but just not in a position to thrive. And so to me, I look back and I say, man, I did great. It's like I almost had a 3.0 GPA, you know what I'm saying? And or 3 point something. And I'm like, most of my senior year was A's and B's, you know what I'm saying? But given the stress load, I think I did pretty well. Now, I wish I knew what stress was back then. I wish some of the resources that students have now, where we talk about mental health and we talk about these things, was going on back then. That's my short answer.
Man, what was my excuse? I think my GPA was like a 1.7. I was just a lazy student, man. You out here killing it. My bad.
For me, I was. Oh, what you said, Dane?
No, it's on you. Go ahead, Dr. J.
Oh, for me, I would say the mindset that held me back was just not giving it my all. I didn't stress at all when it came to when it came to academics. I didn't stress at all, but I didn't know why I didn't stress about it or had any second thoughts. I passed all my finals, and all my classes, but I didn't give it any best effort. It was doing enough just to get by, but the mindset of doing enough just to get by held me back, because had I actually tried, my opportunities for my future at that time wouldn't have been limited at all, because this is me just going to class every day. Like, I didn't skip or anything. And the way that I retain information, once I hear it and pay attention and I use it, it sticks with me. And for me, it was, had I actually implemented the appropriate strategies for studying, such as studying all semester long, not just right before the test and things of that nature, I would have done a lot better. And what I mean by doing enough to get by, that's like C's and B's, right? But implementing these study strategies, I would have had A's. And so for me, my mindset of doing enough to get by definitely helped me back.
Great, I can definitely relate to that. D Hill, what you got for us, man?
Oh man, Hill don't know he on mute.
You got to hit the mic. You got to hit the mic button.
Sorry to interrupt this broadcast. Our elderly cast member is having technical difficulties.
While we're waiting for D Hill, I'll talk a little bit about mindset. I think, and this one goes for all the ADHDers out there. When I was in college, if I'm being transparent, people who have ADHD live and thrive off of stress. What does that mean? That means if weeks, days, hours, minutes in advance that there's something that you should be doing, you won't do it until it's very close to the time where it needs to get done. So you're literally living off of stress. Thank you, Dan. You said computer messing up. I got you. If I had a major test coming up, I wouldn't stress about it till the night before. And so what that means is I would stay up literally all night. I go to the student center around 9, 10 p.m., sometimes 11 p.m., and I would study all the way through till the morning. And then I go to McDonald's. I get some breakfast. I'd go to class. I take my tests. And then I take a huge number 2. Sorry for being so transparent there, but discuss y'all, but I apologize. I just gotta keep
talking about, man. What is he doing?
I'm just keeping it real, and I'm only saying that because you have to paint the picture. This was very normal for me. And it should not be that way, right? And so I think that's one of the things that looking back, I'm like, man, I should not have been doing that. I should have been practicing some other things, some things that I practice now to help me out. And the reason why I say it is because when you stay up like that, it stresses out your digestive system, right? Not only does it stress out your brain, it stresses out your digestive system. And just that whole, my idea of doing just enough, what Dr. Crawford said, something that I struggled with. Also, lots of self-doubt, always talking down on yourself. I think a lot of our students deal with those things as well. And that's just my 2 cents there. D Hill, you back with us?
I don't know. Am I? Can you hear me?
We got you. We can hear you.
Yeah, man. You asking about stuff from high school, man? Shoot. That right there, man, almost like 50 years ago for me over here. Boy, I'm old. But no, I'll say high school, I just didn't care, bro. It was, I ain't gonna lie. I guess nobody showed me how to study when I was in high school. I learned how to study when I got to college when the dudes told us, this one Indian dude, he was a teacher, best one at my school. And he told us, like, teaching us how to study. Nobody showed me, like, when you get out of class, you read over what you just learned. Then before you go in class, you actually study what you're about to learn. And then you have it forever. And I was like, okay, so I tried it. And he said, you study Sunday through Thursday. We was like, why not Friday? He said, ain't no school on Saturday morning. So I guess just not knowing how to study and then just not caring when I was younger. Like Crawford said, it didn't matter. I started caring when I wanted to go to college. When I decided to go to college my last semester of high school. It's okay. I took it from like a 2.5 to 2.9.
Man, the crazy thing is that's what I did in college. I don't remember studying in high school. I think I used to do my studying, like, as I mentioned previously, I used to do my studying in the morning before class started, which is probably why my GPA was what it was.
Hey, LYS fam. It's Ole. Thanks so much for listening to LYS. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to the parents. That's right, mom and dad. Parents, prepare your child for their best educational fit after high school with our comprehensive LYS Parents Guidebook. Our helpful guide includes a range of activities designed to help you better understand your child's unique gifts and abilities. Additionally, we provide valuable insights into the student loan debt crisis and offer practical tips on how to avoid accumulating large amounts of debt. Our ebook also includes a wealth of information on scholarships, grants, and payment exemptions that can help guide your child towards a bright and successful future. With our expert guidance, you can rest assured that your child is well prepared to make informed decisions about their education and career path. Don't let your child's future be in jeopardy. Invest in their future today by downloading the LYS Parents Guidebook. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to the show because you know it's some good topics.
All right, let's jump to that next question. How would your finals weeks have changed if you knew then what the research says now?
For me, I don't think it would have changed that much, to be honest. Only because I found what worked for me. There were certain subjects I was weaker in, I spend a little bit more time on. Was I going to the library and saying, ooh, I want to get this information? Probably not. More than likely, no. I can't recall. Maybe twice actually going in, man, let me sit down and see what they're talking about in here. I think the thing is, again, not knowing what resources are available and not knowing how to use those resources. And that's probably the big catch for me.
I think that I want to come at this from a different angle because I'm realizing something when we, in between all three of us, except for Festus, it seems like on this call, Festus was the only responsible student in school. But something that I noticed and I want to look more into is that I can speak for myself. My mother did graduate college, but her being a single parent, not having the time to invest when I got older, like she invested in my education early on as a little kid, make sure I know how to read and all of that. But once I got of age, it was like, hey, I'm old enough now to implement these things. And I'm wondering if that the parents being scholars, they know how to, or have the tools, the study tools to pass down to the children, instead of parents who are not scholars and don't know how to guide their students into proper study strategies and things of that nature. Because, like, again, had I known how to properly do certain things or why I should take my education serious and stuff like that, I would have tried harder and things of that nature. It was me just not really caring and not realizing until, similar to Ole, when I was in college, oh, okay, this stuff really matters. And then that's when I started doing everything and I realized, oh, I'm actually good at this academic stuff. I didn't realize that until I was in college, when I learned that I didn't know as much as I should have learned in high school, because you got to know all them prerequisites when you're in school. And I'm like, wait, I don't know none of this. I don't think my high school taught me nothing. But I was blaming the school, but really it was me because I never put forth the effort. So I'm thinking not only what the research says based on Ole's question, but as well as having parents who are scholars and passing those habits on to their children. I wonder if that affects the stress and stuff in kids as well.
I don't know if anything would change, man, because I would have to change my attitude, really. Like, actually could have had the studies and kept on not studying, got all the information, not doing said to do. But yeah, this is a mindset, bro. Like even now, like you go different places in school, some kids want to focus, some don't. They can have more technology than all the other schools and still do nothing. One dude, that was your house. I think Festus, what dude was talking about New York and them schools, they have the $1 million classrooms. I can't remember his name, but he's something that has $1 million classrooms up there in New York. When people say like they don't have, I think his son's like in politics or something. Real good dude. Yeah. And he said, no. And then we asked him about school. He said, no, them schools are like $1 million schools. Kids don't, but if a kid don't want to do nothing, don't want to learn, don't care, it don't really matter how much you give them. Same with grown people. Them same little kids turn to grown people who don't do nothing. So I don't think nothing would change.
I think to Crawford's point, I don't think I was really that responsible. I think I was, at that point, I was probably more reactive. You know what I mean? You see something bad happen and it's, oh, I don't want that, so let me do this. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that, oh, I was like, I'm more responsible than everybody else and I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? It was more like, oh, stop, let me go that way. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what happened over there. And so to me, I think that also, to your point, it's a thing of like, life happens. And so when you got a parent who maybe has those skills, but is not bringing those skills across to their kid, one aspect is not knowing that skill is valuable. I hear it all the time, like now as adults. People saying something, man, geometry, algebra, why they teach us that? I'm an adult now and I don't use that. But the algorithms that we're using on social media are set by mathematical equations. So it's like, you think you're not using it, but because you don't know what you don't know, you also don't know what's valuable and how it's being used. And I think to stay on point of just this whole discussion is like, study skills and study habits, those are more valuable than grades. But I think we focus in on the grades, and Nick Saban said this is one of the things. He said, focus in on the process. The only thing that matters is the process. If you are focused in on the process, the outcomes take care of themselves. And that's a paraphrase. But if we focus in on the process of studying, we focus on the process of learning, then the grades will take care of themselves.
Yeah, really powerful points.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Ole once again. You know, these days, many families are busy, but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart-to-heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post-secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one-on-one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post-secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast.
I think to your point, Crawford, and to your question, Crawford, and to your point, Festus, as y'all were talking, I was taking notes. And I know I had a very sheltered childhood growing up. So I really didn't have a lot of chances to challenge a lot of the things that I had been raised to know. And so it's even till today, it's something that I still deal with. And so I definitely do understand and appreciate the question and the point there, Festus. I think the studies show it, right? For those parents who do have college degrees or advanced degrees, a lot of the benefits are translated down to their kids. But one of the things I also thought about when you said that, Crawford, was what about the parents who do have those degrees but aren't able to translate that to their students? And Festus hit on that a little bit. And to me, the thing that I've noticed a lot is, yes, Festus, you're right, not knowing that a certain skill is valuable, but also I think culture kind of plays a part. And and they go hand in hand, where we've created a culture in our home, in our environment, and certain things are expected, and you have to go figure it out on your own. You can maybe ask your parents, you can talk to those around you, but for the most part, it's, why aren't you studying? And I'm thinking of I'm thinking from a very immigrant-minded perspective, where it's, you should be studying. And it's like, there's so many different types of ways to study. There's so many different forms and ways that help students retain well. So really great points there. In regards to the question, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna tag on that, because that's something we're actually going through now too.
Yeah.
In terms of our kids. Our kids have had, I think, at least six different teachers in the last 2 years. And so when you think about that, teacher switching classrooms, because this is something parents are going to deal with now, and it's going to have an impact on learning, is we take on the study habits and the skills that are shown to us based off the person that's there. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's your parent, whether it's your foster parent, whether it's your in-laws, whoever's there, you're taking on their skill set. And so what ends up happening is you have all these different repertoire of skills, but all of those different skills to teach the same thing might be different. So one of the things that we see with our son is, let's say, for example, it's number pairs. Okay. But then you're being taught number pairs 3 to 4 different ways on the same day. Not even the same, you know what I'm saying? You're taught us one way in school. You get home, the person who's helping you with your homework is teaching one way. They like, yo, I don't get that question. Let me pass it over to this person. And then you're like, yo, this is what YouTube said. You know what I'm saying? And so what ends up happening is it's a hodgepodge of confusion to that person. You know what I'm saying? And then they're looked at, why aren't you learning? You see what I'm saying? And I think particularly in the low SES, and I see Crawford, I'm hopping on he waiting for the taxi. The low SES bracket is I think that's what what kind of learning is happening now. So when we talk about something as simple as financial literacy, everybody talking financial literacy, but then what ends up happening is you're told 8 different ways. And so it's, okay, I thought that person said this. I thought this person said this. Anyway, study skills, study habits. Go ahead, Crawford. Go ahead.
Yeah, Festus, I'm glad you shared that personal experience, because that brought up something for me important to talk about, since we're talking about studying and reducing the stress of students during finals weeks and things of that nature. And so I think when we are talking about studying, we're referencing it in this vague topic, but when we say studying needs to be adjusted to the learner, not how to Festus' personal experience, having different people teach the same topic and they're teaching in different ways. The way a student should study is based on them as a learner, and that's how the information is going to be best translated to them. Because using Festus' example, when he was talking about number pairs, even though it's taught all these different ways, the essence of it is that it's the same information. The depth of knowledge is translated when the student can recognize it, that it's the same thing in all these different ways. An example of that is when I hear older people our age and older, talk about new math. And when I hear that, I'm like, there's no such thing as new math. It's a lack of depth of knowledge, because it's the exact same concept, but it's demonstrated in various ways. But math always works the same, right? But it can be displayed so many different ways. So if a person in Africa is doing a math problem, or in China, and the problem is set up completely different, it's not by accident that we all get the exact same answer, because it can be displayed different. So that can apply to any kind of subject in high school or whatever. The information can be displayed differently, but the way the student can take advantage of studying that best suits them is knowing themselves as a learner. Do I learn best by moving around, kinesthetic? Do I learn best by just listening or reading books? Do I like to watch videos and things of that nature? And there's different tactics that you can use to learn these different contents or concepts for those subjects. So I really just wanted to put that out there. Learn yourselves as a learner, and then implement that into your study habits.
Yeah, I probably agree. I like you said the depth of knowledge, but at the same time, when they take that test, like they have a certain strategy that the kid has to know. And if you don't know that, like the standard algorithm, you know what I'm saying? Like the regular dividing, if the kid didn't know how to divide regular, and he's always, because one girl used to divide with dots. I used to be like, what is this? But she understands. I said, baby girl, it's good. You doing great. And I used to tell him, I was like, man, whoever you learn from, your mom, your dad, your grandma, whatever style you like, do it. But on this test day, I need you to know this skill, because if you don't, it's going to make you look like you don't understand it. Because they will tell you, the whole world will tell you, even what's name, teach them how they learn. And you can go deep into it. But when that test comes, they want a specific way, and then they just going to be looking at the kid like, oh, he don't know it. No, he does know it. He just don't know it out there certain type of way. So I agree on some of it, and sometimes when it comes to, sometimes you just have to know it a specific way, like period. That's all I say.
So that goes to what Festus said, focus on the process. And so the issue is not that they learn like the dot method or whatever method. The problem would be, why does that dot method work, or why does this method work? That's where the depth of knowledge comes in. And so regardless of how I see that problem, because whatever way I learned, whatever strategy it is, if someone's teaching me, like you, Daniel said, the standard algorithm, if someone's teaching me how to divide using or multiply, whatever, using a standard algorithm, that's fine. But that's just learning a series of steps. That's not learning the math. You have to teach the why. And once you're teaching the why in those steps, that why can be applied to any kind of other methods out there, because it's the exact same thing, which is why I said, if you do a math problem in Ghana, if you do a math problem in China, we get the same answer, but it's a complete different series of steps. But the math is not, it's not magic.
Yeah.
It's a reason why it always works. And that's the issues. And now we're getting into a teaching problem, because if teachers are teaching steps, of course, when they take a test and it's a different way, they're not going to know it, because they were never taught, hey, this is why this works that way.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Ole. You know, if there's one thing I love, it's something free. I'm talking free 99, un gratis. No shipping or handling fees, no gotcha fees, nothing like that. With that being said, if you're graduating soon or thinking about college or need a nudge or help to decide, then our free ebook, 10 Things to Think About Before Going to College, has a very balanced and open-minded way of presenting your next steps. It captures broad topics in a personal way by giving students an insightful, interactive, and reflective source of inspiration. It is very beneficial to be able to visualize some of the concepts after high school and apply them directly to you. We all know life, college, and career planning decision-making choices for students can be challenging, especially as they near the completion of high school. This book will provide you with a self-paced guide to your success beyond academics and into real life. Not only is it free, you can complete this book within a week. This will definitely prepare you for long-term success. To get your free copy, simply go to lys.com/students. I mentioned it was free, right? Well, if I didn't, it's free. Like, for real, for real. Okay, back to the podcast.
And that's the most important part. So I get what you're saying, Daniel. Hey, I taught it this way, but they see it in a different way. But that's because we didn't explain why it works this way, because the why is the same everywhere, although the steps may be different.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying like the same thing. Like, I actually agree with you on that part. I was talking about, when you take the step and they won't ask for the final answer, they'll say what goes in this box specifically right here. That's the problem. I'm like, yeah, they understand the math, but I used to tell my kids, I was like, man, y'all are. So I would have to break down, like you would do, like off of your videos, a step by step. When you would tell them about carry the, you're not really carrying one, you're carrying 10s. You got to understand the step by step. But when they take that test, they're gonna like, what goes in this box? I know that. I know the answer. I said it's almost like when you become like my friend Alex, when he used to take me to work on ACs. They don't always ask for the final answer. He'll say, hey, so what goes here? What's this spot? Okay, we done did this with the coils. Now what? I only learned how to finish the whole thing. I didn't really learn that this certain spot. So that's my problem with the testing, bro. Like, it's more about the understanding than just like the certain steps some people want you to take.
Definitely. No, definitely. There was something that you said, Jamarc, that's going to lead us to our next segment. This probably may be our next segment, our last segment before we close. This may have to be a two-parter. But Crawford, you said something about students knowing how they like to study, right? And so that's the next thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the know, right? Proven or science-backed learning and stress strategies, right? So I think I didn't have it here, but I'm going to put it as one, and that's know how you like to learn, right? Know how you like to study. One of the other things I had here was know that sleep is a performance tool. During finals, fewer than 20% of students get their recommended sleep. You got to remember, sleep improves your memory. It improves your focus. It improves your emotional regulation. It improves your test performance. Know which study methods work. So look up those research consistently ranks active recall and spaced repetition as the top learning strategies. Not rereading, not color coding notes, not cramming, right? Know stress affects learning. So study shows that academic stress weakens concentration, it weakens decision-making, it weakens long-term retention. But moderate managed stress can improve performance. So my question for the squad is, how can students tell the difference between busy studying and effective studying? That's my first question for the squad.
I'm gonna let the guys tackle it first.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
It's kind of, it's okay when you read the Bible, right? There's people who just study and then people who actually understand it. So when you start understanding it and you can display what you learn and show what you learn and actually use what you learn, that's effective. When you just know something but can't apply it, then it don't mean nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna expand on what Dan said. So basically, whatever it is that you're studying, you have to engage with it. Now, that's gonna look different depending on the type of learning you are. But what I mean by engaging with the content is that can look like underlining it, highlighting it, and then trying to visualize it and comprehend what that particular concept means, applying it to you. How can it be used in the real world, applying it to your life, whatever that content is, that's engaging with the content. Now, Daniel reference where you are reading it, but you don't really know like what you're doing, like you're reading it, and then 10 minutes later, you can't explain what you read. Yeah, there was time that you said you were studying, but you didn't really engage with the content. You read it, but that's not really actively studying. And so that leads to less effectiveness versus engaging with the content. Okay, I'm reading this part. I don't know what this means. Okay, let me use some other resources to try to figure out what they're meaning by this. Okay, now, once I figured out what they meant by this, I'm going to go back to the original document. I'm going to underline it and put it in the words in which I just learned to where it makes sense to me. So when I see that concept, under that, I have a note that is broken down like this. So now when I see that somewhere else, I can reference that. So that's an example of engaging with the content, and that leads to effectiveness. And so you don't have to lose sleep and pull all-nighters, because if you practice studying like this, that information is going to make sense to you when you see it again on your exam.
Man, very good points. And I'm gonna tie the two together. So the biblical model and then the practical model is, can you teach it to somebody else? So the simplest way of trying to see if you mastered something is, can you teach it to somebody else? And the next step is, can they replicate what you've done? And the biblical point is discipleship, right? Is Jesus taught us, we teach others. Now, if their life is looking shambles compared to, you see what I'm saying? So it's just it's a teaching process. And so the thing is, even though we might have a number of different study methodologies, the real thing comes down, can you teach it to somebody else and can they reproduce the outcome? And so those tools are key, because you got to, and I love where Crawford's come from, you got to know who you're dealing with and you got to know yourself. So it's like, hey, I might learn it this way and I'm going to put it in my head this way. So growing up the way I grew up, and maybe the way most of us grew up, teachers talking about something, this is my financial literacy course right here. This is what I hear in my head when people talk about financial literacy. This is, I know this sounds bad, but they're talking, and then I hear, slow paper is better than no paper. Fast money don't last too long. You got to pace it. You got to know that paper. Got to know that photophobia, Kodak moments, fence walls with my pictures on them. No, you know what I'm saying? So to me, this is what I hear. And I'm saying, wait a second, this dude talking about making money fast, but Lil Wayne has said, fast money don't last long. You got to pace that money. So now you're on the track. My legs burn because he said paper chase until my thighs burn. You know what I'm saying? So what he's saying is, look, I can go out here and work for the money, but then my legs gonna be hurt if I keep. So this is what I'm saying in terms of just us in different study habits and study methods, is when you're coming from a certain place, it might be best to learn this way. One of my favorite people, I know we're about to close out, is this dude named Maccabee. Look this dude up on Instagram. He be rapping about food. He's a Jamaican dude. He's killing the game. He's killing the game.
You did the one about the cucumbers?
Yeah, eat the cucumber. I'm like, yeah, I need to eat healthy. You know what I'm saying? But that teaching method, right? You got to know yourself, got to know your audience. So I'm gonna chill there.
No, that's a great point. The crazy thing is, the only thing I was going to say was when I studied to teach. And so it's just crazy that you say that. I forgot about that discipleship pattern. So that's a great tidbit there to drop in. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put the do portion, and that's going to be part 2. And then we're going to add that up with another one, or we may just do like a mini and then jump into the next one for next week. But this was a really good conversation. Love the conversation. For those of you who are getting ready for finals or midterms, I think it's finals. I'm not even sure. It's been so long. Just make sure, as we talked about in the beginning, that you strategize, right? That's what the top students do. Top students don't wait till the last minute. They start right now. And I think one of the biggest things I've learned is, for some of us, the hardest thing is we see the whole thing, and the whole thing seems so big for us, and that's overwhelming. When in reality, it's small steps to get you to the end of the journey, right? It's small steps to eat the whole thing. You got to eat this slice of pizza. You got to eat this burger one bite at a time. So take a bite, right? Just start off taking a bite. For those of you who struggle with time management, take a bite, start that first step, and give yourself a timer. I think it's called the Pomodoro technique. It's been something that I've used, that I still use, that's been really beneficial. Since I thrive off of procrastination, unfortunately, you set up a timer for 10 minutes and you start working on that first step, right? And whatever that is. And then that's a great way to just get going and get those juices going. Just some quick tips from us here on this latest episode of Edu Steps to get you going, for those of you who get ready for finals, midterms, whatever it may be. Make sure you know who you are, know your values, principles, characteristics, know your resources, how to get access to them, know who to ask, who to talk to, and come up with a plan so you're executing with excellence. So for Daniel Hill, Dr. Jamarc Crawford, I'm Ole Sharonki. This is Festus Amoye. If you like what you've heard today, if you've been a long-time listener, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions, if you got any comments, if you have any disagreements, please be sure in the comment section to show that out there so we can interact with you. As always, thank you for listening to this latest episode of Edu Steps. Festus, go ahead and close us out with a phrase that pays, my good sir.
So listen, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for getting an education or for not getting an education. So if you like what you heard and you think somebody else needs to hear this, go ahead, hit that share button. If you like what you heard, hit the like button. And then also, if you believe that this is valuable information, hit the subscribe button so that you can catch us on the next episode, and we'll see you there.